Ocean, Houston, Texas. Oh, it's an exciting morning here in Houston, and naturally I have to start with a cup of coffee. We're going to have a little science today. Now, this is going to be spectacular. I want you to think it with me if you would, because you're all working out there to become better leaders. And sometimes we have to understand really how the brain works a little bit in order for us to be that leader that we're really intended to be. And so I want to just discuss something this morning, and we're going to talk about being positive, but I want to set it up first with a little experiment, if I could, and a little background. Number one, there's three major chemicals within your brain all the time that's working. One is adrenaline, the other one is dopamine, and the third is cortisol. Now, adrenaline is what you receive when you're getting ready to go do something. It's when you're preparing to go do something. It's like when you're going to the gym and you're thinking about, boy, I'm going to rip, I'm going to go get this done, I'm going to make this happen, and you have those challenges and you're going to go get them. And also adrenaline is the same way setting up when we write out our dreams and we write out our challenges, that adrenaline rush. You know what I'm talking about? It's there. You're going, this is going to be great. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Well, and then the dopamine comes right in, boy, and it's a reinforcer. It comes in there and it says, okay, man, get excited. Here it is. I'm going to get you hooked on this thing, man. You're going to get so excited about where you're going in life, and those dreams are going to come through, and that dopamine floods, and it opens up all your creative centers in the brain. And then you have another drug up there, or in your chemical makeup, called cortisol. Now, cortisol was created primarily to let you know that there's danger, okay? Like, don't touch that fire. Stop, that doesn't work, right? Or back in the old days, there's a bear outside the cave, we better stay in. So it's good to one degree, but another degree of cortisol can really hurt us. I call it the stress hormone. And what will happen, it'll stay in that brain much too long, much longer than, say, dopamine or adrenaline. And what it'll do, it'll set up a negative state. In other words, it's all fearful. It usually is driven by fear, or I don't think I can do that, or you're getting my idea here? Let me give you an experiment if I can. Let's just say, this is going to be so good. This is a glass of water. Let's say that water right there represents your brain. Now, here's a little aspirin. I'm going to take out one aspirin. I want you to watch this aspirin. I'm going to drop it in that water. Now, what's happening, that it goes down to the bottom of the water. It's in the brain, right? And this is the way cortisol is. And it's sitting there. And if you'll look, it goes in. It just sits there for a while. And then it takes it a while. And if you look, and you may not be able to see that, but in that glass, it's now beginning to break down. It's breaking down very slowly. And it's just kind of beginning to saturate in the bottom of that water, in the bottom of that glass, in the bottom of that brain. Now it's breaking down. It's spreading out a little more, very slowly. Cortisol is like that. It'll stay in that brain anywhere up to 24 hours. In other words, if we have this fear, it lingers in there. Now, let's look at this. This is like Alka-Seltzer right here. I love Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer, let's say it's like dopamine and adrenaline. Watch this one. You put that in, what does it do? Look at it go. I mean, it's fizzing. It's alive. I mean, it's taking off. And it's just really doing its thing real quick. You see it bubble up, and it's just going and going and going. And that's the excitement. That's the drive. That's the adrenaline. That's what's happening in your brain when you have those goals and you have those dreams and you picture what it's going to be like, and you know the pain you're going to go through, but you're so excited about it. But then you start seeing what happens. It just begins to fizzle out, starts to settle out. And in the bottom of this glass now, we still have that doggone aspirin. That cortisol is still there. That cortisol will stay in there, breaking down and working for up to 24 hours. Whereas dopamine and adrenaline is only in the brain normally 2 to 4 hours. Now, what I want to do is set you up with that little experiment to let you know. The way that you fight this cortisol in business and in where you're going in life is you have to be positive. You have to be a positive person. In my book, The Power of Layered Leadership, again, ordered if you haven't, it's on Amazon. I talk about the definition of leadership is the positive, progressive, ethical influence on others. The positive, progressive, ethical influence on others. Number one, you've got to be positive. Now, guys, it's difficult. I know it's difficult today. We have negative friends, negative in-laws. I'll swap you some of my in-laws if you like. I mean, we have negative music. We have negative words. We have a negative boss. We're in a negative world. If you really want to get negative, just turn on the news. You don't ever see anything exciting on the news. It's about murder and rape and killing and all these things. So we're surrounded by cortisol. Are you with me? Stay with me now. We surround ourselves with cortisol, and then we have this adrenaline rush, and we have this dopamine that floods our body. It says, oh man, I can take this business, I can make this business work, or I've got this dream and I wanted to expand this dream. And this negativity keeps coming in, it keeps attacking us. And it's continuing, it's a battle all the time. But you know, being positive is something that you can set up in your mind. And there's some facts. You know, many years ago when I started teaching, I was talking about being positive. He said, oh, Goshen, you're so ridiculous. Now there's documentation on it. There's studies on it. You can get a master's degree right now in positive psychology. And what they've determined a lot of wonderful things, like 31% of all people do better if they're positive. 37% have better performance in sales. Get this, 19% of doctors that are positive have a better chance of giving you a diagnosis. My point being, get away from that negative doctor. This dopamine we're talking about here, this Alka-Seltzer, what it does, it opens up all the learning sensors inside your brain. And it helps you become happier. Oh, so key, so key. Happier. You've got to be happier. And it raises your intelligence, your creativity, your productivity. It helps you become less resilient. You have less chances of burnout. Am I saying anything here that you like? See, you have to see that you have to keep that adrenaline and that dopamine in your system as often as you can. And how do you do that? You do it with your dream. You do it by writing out your goals. You do it by attempting your goals. Oh, sure, you're going to have failures. That's where the cortisol might come in. But then you reset that dream. You reset those goals. You reestablish yourself. You say, Bob, I can't do that. My brain's not capable. Yes, it is. Neuroplasticity is a big word. But up until the 1990s, it was believed that when we're born, once we get up to age 5, our brain's locked in. Well, what we are is what we are. But up around the 1990s, we started discovering that's not true, that the brain actually has the capacity to rewire itself. It actually has the capacity to rewire itself. So here, I'm going to give you a little homework here from this simple little education today. Here's your homework. I want you to start rewiring your brain. I want you to start getting more and more Alka-Seltzer to the top. I want you to be fizzed up all the time. Now, I don't say psyched up. I'm just saying always in that dream state, always in that creativity state, always in that happy state. And if you fall out and realizing that aspirin's there, you're going back to cortisol, come on back and reestablish dreams, reestablish goals, reestablish where you're going in life. And you'll keep that up there into that creative mindset. Here's what I want you to do in order to do that. If the brain has the capacity to rewire itself, how do we rewire itself? How can we do that? Well, number one, I want you to talk about 3 gratitudes every day. I want you to be grateful every day. I want you to write these down on a pad. I want you to write down, number one, I'm going to have 3 gratitudes every day. Every day I'm going to talk about 3 things I'm grateful for. Folks, the way that you get rid of negativity is be thankful and grateful. Thankful and grateful. You write them down every day. Now I want you to do 3. Number 2, I want you to journal a positive experience that happened to you in the last 24 hours. Now we're going to do this over a 21-day period, okay? So we're going to journal a positive experience that happened to us over a 21-day period. Every day we're going to journal something. Man, I can't believe my grandkids came over. I'm so excited about it. I'm going to journal that down. Number 3, we're going to exercise. We're going to exercise. What that does, and we don't have to go crazy, go out and walk, 7,500, 10,000 steps, whatever the case may be. What it does, it sets the brain up that behavior means something. In other words, that's where you with me? It goes back to that adrenaline. That adrenaline, hey, I know, see, I'm doing something. You may not see the results that you want right now, but that's okay. You're doing something. Next, meditation. This over 21 day, every day, get away for at least 10 to 20 minutes. Unplug from this. Unplug from a computer. Facebook, I call it Wastebook instead of Facebook. Get away from all these things that are just all the time coming. And some of them very negative. All right? Unplug. Silence. Be quiet. Listen. Enjoy yourself. Meditate. And then the last is do random acts of kindness. Every day over the next 21 days, send out either a text message or an email to someone that's impacted you. Someone that's done something great for you. Someone that you're going, I really enjoy. It can be a relative, it can be a friend, it can be a mentor, it can be many things. Now, if you'll do this for 21 days, are you with me? For 21 consecutive days, just these simple little steps. It is proven, okay? It's proven, not by me, but by psychologists, okay, that study positive psychology, that this will actually rewire the brain where every day it starts seeking positive over negative. It'll go after the Alka-Seltzer instead of the aspirin. So take this lesson today. Move forward. Remember, stay positive, but now you know why. You need to know why, if what's going on up here, and also what you need to do physically in order to rewire this thing through neuroplasticity. So until we meet next time, man, I'm asking you to do this. Take dominion over your mind. Take control over that mind.